We are live. Hello and welcome to Mind Matters, our monthly-ish waffling conversation between myself and this guy.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Yeah. I love the monthly-ish.
Yeah,
Monthly-ish means
monthly-ish.
we
So
can make
it's
mistakes.
officially the last Monday of every month, except you may or may not have noticed it's not the last Monday of the month. That's because this is August's live video in September. As partly because I got a new puppy. And puppies are
That's right.
great.
I love
But
it. What a great excuse.
well, do you know what I realized? Hands up, it was not a good idea to get a brand new puppy and bring him home on the day that I'm supposed to be doing a live video. I figured that's probably not going to end well. As it happens, actually, he's just been brilliantly well behaved. You may notice that my background is not the normal snazzy branded Mind Affinity background. I'm sat in my house because I'm not going into the office quite as much at the moment because I'm here for the puppy.
Oh, mate. Right. Where is he?
I'll go. Do you know what? Before the end of the live stream, I'll run down, and if it's practical to do so, and if it's not, I will send you. Well, I've already sent you photos.
Yeah, I've seen some photos, and he looks gorgeous, mate. He looks
And do you know what? I've been. So I've had dogs before, but this is the first time that I've raised one from puppy, and being almost entirely responsible for the life of a new puppy, which is freaking awesome, by the way. But there are so many lessons that you can learn from puppies and puppy training. Like I've always said, there's so much as adults, there's so much we can still learn from children and even more so, I think, from puppies, because you have to go back to the absolute basics of, I can't just tell this puppy what I want because he won't understand that. I have to look and watch his body language to understand how he's trying to communicate, because his communication's only ever going to be as good as my listening, and his communications is not barking, it's whether or not his spine is curved, it's what he's doing with his ears, which are flopping all over the place. It's
if his hackles are up or if they're not, or if and the difference between a playful barking and an aggressive barking are so very slight. But
and yawning, right? Yawning can mean they're tired, or it can mean they're stressed, or it can mean they're excited. Like, you've got to look at all of it. And this is like anyone who's done like one lesson in how to read body language, thinks that they're an expert, makes all the same mistakes of going, oh, their arms are folded, they must be closed. No, they could just be cold, right? It's the same thing. You can't just look at one aspect and go, oh, his tail's wagging, he must be happy. It's not that simple.
Now, right, you could go a bit different.
It's awesome, and there is so much that you can learn and gain from it. Ben Kelly, how's it going, buddy? Look at that, two of his favorite peas.
Thank you, Ben.
So I'm not sure who the other one is. So anyway, puppies are awesome. Do you know what? Actually, this is gonna be a really smooth segue, right? So one of the important things about training a puppy early on is creating a confident dog, right? You've got to work with them to be confident and comfortable, because bear with me one sec. Okay, I thought someone was about to walk in the room. Kids have just come home from school. So
kids and puppy come storming in. That would be
awesome. So yes, it's so important to make sure that puppies grow up to be confident, because if they're exposed to, like, there's a window of fear, right? There's a period of time where they're supposed to be ready to leave their mum and go and do the crazy things, knowing that mum's still there to keep them safe. And then there's a period of time where they get fearful of everything to keep them safe because mum's no longer around. And in this period right now is the time to get him used to all of the new exciting things, while they're new and exciting rather than new and scary. And how you deal with training a dog makes such a difference to how confident and comfortable they are as an adult dog when you do the work now as a puppy. And how true is that for humans as well, right? It can make such a big difference early on. But if we're confident within ourselves, if we feel safe, which doesn't necessarily mean being in a situation that's safe, but we feel like we have the ability to return to safety, everything becomes much easier, doesn't it? Like, if you've got a strange package in the middle of the room and you're on your own, you'll go, oh, I might have a look at that. And then the door slams behind you. You ain't going to care about looking at the package anymore. right? Because you don't feel safe. You're not going to go and investigate something weird when there's no ability to return to safety. It's true for
I
copying.
like what you said there about the ability to return to safety, because I deal with a lot of people who come to me and say, "Oh, you go on stage all the time, therefore you must be really confident about going on stage." But actually, it's turned into one of my places of comfort, whereas other people see it as a big scary thing, and I'm just like, "No, I'm quite happy on there. I get to talk to people. I'm good. I'm all right with that." But yeah, the return into a place of safety is a really interesting way to put it. So how do you see confidence? Do you
Oh
think you
well,
can
now
give
so
people
there's a
confidence?
bigger question than it may seem at first. Hi, Tony. So how do I see confidence? I think there's different ways of looking at it and different definitions based on the context, which is so often the case when you're talking about just one word and expecting it to mean everything, right? Confidence is a
Yeah.
big word. It means different things to different people. But in essence, I tend to actually categorize confidence into what I very loosely and not very effectively, but it makes things easier. I put it into internal and external categories, right?
Okay.
So there's internal confidence and external confidence. What I mean by that, like I say, they're none of the best terms. Internal confidence is how confident one feels within themselves. External confidence is how one comes across, right? So
Okay.
when you
Yeah.
talk about, so for example, you getting up on stage, you're externally incredibly confident and probably always have been. But there's probably been plenty of times where you've not been as internally confident while doing it, right?
Yeah. So the difference there is how my audience see me and how I feel.
I think so, to a
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
do think that the line's a bit more fuzzy between whether it's just about how you feel or not, because there are situations where you can be confident, but still internally, you know that you're not, you don't, you exude confidence, right? You put on the
Yeah.
suit, you put on the dress, you put on the makeup. That's for you, obviously, specifically there, Paul. And that makes you feel more confident, right? That's
Yeah.
external confidence, but that which may help to influence and increase upon and build on the internal confidence, which is that real belief in oneself, you know?
Mate, you're right. And do you know what? And whilst you said putting on the makeup, and
Yeah.
then kind of as a joke, that's for Paul. The fact is, the black shirt, the grey hat, it's all turned into. I start putting this stuff on, and I get ready to be in a show state.
Yeah.
And for me, it really helps. It's almost like this stuff here is my armor as I'm getting ready to go out and
For
do
sure.
what I do.
So I'm a great believer that you can't control how you feel, right? And what a lot of people say is you can't control how you feel. Your thoughts control your feelings. So therefore you control how you think and you can change how you feel. I don't agree with that either, because I can't think you can directly control what you think, because thoughts jump out of nowhere half the time, right? You can decide that you're
Yeah.
going to focus on writing this article you've got to write, but you can't decide whether or not a random thought's going to jump into your head while you're doing it.
See,
So
I'm going to
what
let you make your point, then I'm going to say something annoying.
Excellent. I love that. So I'll be quick on the point then. What you can do, though, is you can influence how you feel and you can influence how you think to do so, right?
Yeah.
Example, you're about to go on a night out, you're not really feeling it, or you're not feeling particularly confident, but you know you really want to do it anyway. So you put the music on, you start getting ready, you put on your black shirt and your trilby, or you know, jump in the shower and shave your legs, whatever it might be part of your personal, and I don't mean you, Paul, I mean the viewers, getting ready routine. With the music on and all of that, that influences you into that positive state that you do want. And there
Yes.
are influences that can happen like this. You can build anchors and triggers. We'll talk about them in another video. But ultimately, you're not necessarily directly controlling, you're influencing. And the more you do that in little bits as you go along, the easier it is to change how you're going to react and respond to different things in the future as well, right? So go on, be annoying. I love it when you're annoying.
You've kind of touched on what I was going to be annoying with, which
Uh,
is for many years, I used two anchors to be able to walk out on stage.
Yeah.
So I would to anchor this middle finger and the thumb pushing together would give me a nice sense of calm, and this middle finger and this thumb pushing together would give me a confidence boost. And then if I did them both together, literally while I was stood in the wings on stage, if I did them both together, just imagine, confidence and calmness rushing over you at the same time. And then I'd walk out on stage and literally just say hello to the audience. Now, I think, don't get me wrong here, I think I've been using that for so long that it's ridiculously powerful now. Because I just trust in the anchors and I understand how they work and I know it's going to work. So it almost starts working before I even push the finger and thumb together.
Absolutely.
Because my brain's wired for it and ready for it. If anyone doesn't understand anchoring or hasn't done it or wants to try it, give one of us a shout. We'll happily help you with it.
Or tune into our video that's out. Do you know what? I'll come up with the answer for that and I'll let you know.
I love that. I love that you're looking down and going, when have we got that one scheduled?
September the 27th. Oh, right. So at the end of our next video,
our September video
will be all about anchors.
Awesome. But yeah, so for me, whilst I'll say to people, I can't give you confidence, what we can actually do is implant some anchors that will help you believe you've got confidence.
Can I be annoying in return?
Yeah,
you saw my face, so you know what's coming, right?
Yeah.
I almost agree with you, with one really slight but really important difference. I can't remember exactly what word you used now.
I heard the puppy.
To me,
I don't care. I heard the puppy. Yeah.
To me, it's not about you're right. I can't give you confidence. I can't give anyone confidence. But the anchors, etc., what they do is they draw it out because the confidence is already there. Every single one of us, everyone watching this video, you included, are already a confident person. It's just that there's noise and crap that's on top of it that's suppressing it, that's getting in the way, that's confusing things, right? You don't need to do more. Actually, sometimes just doing less makes it easier. The anchors that Paul's talking about, the things that we can both do and that you can do for yourself, are all unnecessary but helpful tools and techniques that allow you to get to and draw out the confidence that's already there inside.
See, what I love about this, mate, is that you've got two guys here that know their stuff, but will happily say they will never use the language 100% correctly because we can't. Okay, because everyone sees things slightly differently, and I can use one word for you and it will feel very different to you than it does for me, like the word confidence. So I agree with you 100% on that, because what is it? We only get born into the world with is it one or two real fears? One of them is of falling.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's a lovely statement with no actual evidence to back it up.
yes, it is. But then you look at the fear of something that I find warm and fluffy and really nice and cute, and mice. I love them to bits. I think they're really, really cute little animals. But then even just saying the word mice has made some people go, yeah. And for me, that's nuts. I don't see that. I can't do that. I can't make that happen within me at all. Okay. But we do exactly what you said. We create blocks, issues, problems, clouds that change our judgment, that actually, if you want to work on it, you can remove them. Now, how you remove them, whether you want to do it fast like that, whether you want to take time over it and do it in a way that you feel more comfortable with, doesn't matter. What matters is that you're happy with doing it that way. Okay, so whilst that, and do you know what? This is why we started talking, Duncan, because I like fast. I'm going to get this done in seconds. I'm going to put somebody under in seconds, and in seconds, we're going to make them believe that they're a chicken. And in moments, we're going to do this. And then a lot of hypnotherapists will go, right, you're going to need about 28 sessions, each lasting an hour. But neither of us are wrong. Neither of those attitudes are wrong. Actually, it matters more about the person that you're working with than my attitude.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a great example, just because you were talking about fears, and I know you were talking about mice, but I had a client come to me quite a while ago now for something completely unrelated. She talks quite openly about it, so I know she won't mind me mentioning that
Yep.
This particular client, who I still won't name just out of politeness,
Yeah. Yeah.
went through a stage where she would regularly pass out a lot.
Ooh.
She went to see various medical doctors, and they all kind of went, "There's nothing wrong," but it was still happening, so there was something wrong. And actually, the very first session that we worked together, I didn't do anything about it. I didn't help her with the fainting or the passing out at all. But what we did do in that first session, in the space of about 10 minutes, was overcome her fear of spiders. The reason we did
Nice.
that was just so I could brag and say that I didn't know. The reason that we did that is so that she could see for herself that she did that. I didn't do it. I showed her how. I guided her. The rest, like I say, it was in 10 minutes. The rest of the session was spent talking about how and understanding it better and seeing that she created that shift for her in an instant. But she did that
Brilliant.
work. I just guided her and showed her how.
Because then you've also got the in there. You've got the belief levels thing.
This is it.
Right. This is. I'm going to try and explain this. I will do so badly. Okay. If
That's an
you go
interesting
to
suggestion.
if you go to, it means then people don't care about the language so much and they get the gist. I'm fine with that. If you go to a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist that you've never met, never heard of, and straight away they say, "I'm going to put you under in 10 seconds," your belief level in that person is probably quite low because they haven't given you any proof that they can do this. However, if Paul McKenna or Darren Brown turned around to you and said, "I'm going to put you under in about 10 seconds," your brain is probably, as long as you've watched telly in the last 20 years, your brain is probably going, "Oh, they could be able to do this."
Mm-hmm.
So the belief level within your own head is already going yes or no, and it's already wavering you to one of those answers. Now, what you did, Duncan, was you gave her control over something that she was fearful of, and you raised her belief in herself and her control and her ability of control. And for that, mate, that's brilliant. That's a great start because now she's open to possibilities of her being able to control X, Y, Z in the future.
Which, of course, she then went on to do, and that's absolutely what we got to. So yeah, and well, obviously, I've got some amazing testimonials from her. But
and we've had this chat before. I see hypnosis as I'm not a massive fan of jazz music, but I really do see it like jazz. Because I don't want a script. I don't want you have to say A, then B, then C, then D, then E.
Yeah.
That's not me at all. I think a good hypnotherapist is like a jazz musician because you go with an instrument that you love and then you just do whatever is right for the audience.
Yeah.
And if you nail that, you can nail hypnosis.
Oh, the number of times that I'm working directly in trance-based hypnosis, which is not exclusively what I do, but doing that with a client, and I'll say something and it's just flowing, and I'll go, I've got to write that down.
Yeah.
And I never do. I rarely do because it's in the moment. It's working with that individual. It's what they need in that moment at that time.
Yes.
I always have a framework of sorts. I always have, I've got 15 years experience of writing scripts and programs for people. I kind of know what I'm doing. So I always have that foundation to build on, but it's very much based on what's happening in that moment for that individual. Bringing it back to confidence.
Yes.
Because that belief in herself, as an example, to me highlights really it is about, if you have that belief in yourself, you can do amazing things. Something you said earlier that I want to circle back to was, you said when you were talking about your anchors, you had one for calmness and one for confidence.
Yeah.
So often when people think about confidence, they lean towards this idea of the what I call the external confidence, which is the get yourself worked up so you can run onto the stage so that you don't run in the other direction.
Be the showman. Be
And
big,
that's
be
what
loud.
confidence is. And like for an extrovert like me, yeah, that's what confidence is. I'll quite happily run onto the stage. But actually, I think calm confidence is very much in touch with what I call the internal confidence, right? That calmness and confidence isn't about, I need to be big and loud and proud. It's about, that came across a bit camp, didn't it? It
suited you though, so don't
I'm
worry
just
about
going to be me, which also comes across quite camp, but that's a whole other thing. I'm just going to be me, and I'm okay with that. And that's powerful to me, because then on top of that, you can still be loud and extrovert, or you can be quiet and introvert. It doesn't matter. But having that calmness there, and there'll be people watching this that think, but that's just not me. I just don't have it. And you do. When I said that everyone has it inside, I mean it. And here's one of the reasons why you might be questioning that. But for those that are, when we talk about confidence, and I say, right, think about a time you felt really confident. What people instantly do is they try and think about a time they felt really confident. But the thing is, in those moments where you really felt confident, you didn't stop and think, oh, I'm feeling really confident right now. You were just being you. You felt calm, probably. You just were in the moment, and you probably felt brilliantly confident, but you wouldn't ever label it as confidence, because people think about confidence in this external sense as standing up on a stage feeling brave. That's not necessarily confidence. That's external. That sits on top of a real true confidence, that internal confidence.
And the one that gets me a lot, the one that I get approached about a lot is obviously, hey Emma, is obviously, hey Tristan, is the stage thing, because people see me do that a lot and they think that's it. He specializes in that. He can help us get on stage. But the amount of times that, if you break down what being on stage actually is, you're normally standing, you're normally talking. That's pretty much it. Okay, unless you're singing in a musical, then you have to learn dance moves or you have to learn a song. But that pretty much is what people come to me for. And the amount of people who say to me, I can't do that. And it's like, so what can't you do? Which bit can't you do? Can you not speak? Well, of course I can. I'm talking to you now. Okay, brilliant. Right. Have you got a physical reason that you cannot stand? And they go, well, no. I've only had one person come to me who was in a wheelchair, and he said, yes, I can't do standing. I said, brilliant. We'll just get a lower lectern. We're fine. Okay.
You know,
the fact is,
Ben Kelly would still quite happily get on the stage.
Thank you, Ben. But the fact is, you've got these people who are saying, I can't. So that's their level of belief in their confidence of being on stage. So they're already wording everything in the way that this just doesn't happen because I can't. And then the amount of times that I could be with that person, it might be a networking event. It might be where I'm helping people by delivering a talk. And you say to somebody, okay, have you got a subject that you know in and out, or that you know at least 50% more of it than I do or I ever will? And they'll come up with their hobby. It could be crabbing. It could be boating. It could be, I don't know, air rifle shooting. It could be something random. And they go, yeah, I know quite a bit about this subject. And I go, right, while you're sat there, just start telling me about it. And they go, oh, okay, so when I go crabbing, I take my kids, I go down to the beach, I find myself a nice little pier, I find myself this. And then while they're talking, I stand them up. And they stand up. And then I put them next to me, because now they're next to me, so they've got no reason to be scared. Then I kind of turn them around so they're facing the audience. And they're still just talking about the thing they're really, really happy with talking about. All of a sudden, without asking their brain to, we have got those people stood in front of an audience talking about something they're passionate about. And they haven't even realized they've done it.
Which beautifully circles right back to something that we both agreed on earlier, which is that the confidence is already there. It's the noise and the stuff that's getting in the way, right? Like
it is.
As humans, we have this idea that we need to do more to fix things, because things are better if there's more stuff, right? If we got, in fact, a study was carried out to prove this, or to demonstrate this rather, where they had a load of Lego blocks spread out on a table, and they had 4 blocks on top of each other here and 3 blocks on top of each other here that were joined at the top by a flat bit. And they asked people, what we want you to do is make this bridge even. So it's the same on both sides. So it's a flat bridge. and everyone added a block to the side that only had 3 so that it was 4 on each side, so it was level, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, completely.
You know, you could just take away a block from the other side, right?
Yeah.
And you'd still get the result of a level bridge. But we have it, it's kind of ingrained into us, that this additive effect, right? We want to add something to fix something. We want to do more. But if you're overthinking, which a lack of confidence generally is quite often paired with overthinking, right?
Love that.
Kat would absolutely take the block away. She's got it. But yeah, if you're overthinking stuff, which often is the case if you're feeling lacking in confidence, you're not actually lacking in confidence. You're just making too much noise to notice that the confidence is there, is another way of looking at it. Take some of that noise away, the confidence comes through.
So, okay. So we're concentrating too much on the possibility that we can't. So rather than lacking in confidence, actually, we've got enough confidence already. So let's care less about the potential barriers we're going to make.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's because we've got so much belief in ourselves. It's just that we're pointing that belief towards failure rather than pointing that belief towards success. I say failure and success. What I really mean is what is predetermined by you as a positive or negative outcome, which only you have decided, by the way. So actually, if you're convinced that you're going to screw it up and you screw it up, that's a success because that's what you were focused on and you achieved it. Well done. So actually,
that's me. It's true.
Enough powerful belief that you're worried about this situation and not being confident enough. What's actually the case is you've got such an abundance of confidence in your expected outcome, rather than try and fight against that, just twist it a little bit, just point it in the other direction, and suddenly it's all much easier, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I know I'm going to keep going back to stage, but it's because that's what most people have come to.
I feel at home on the stage. I'm with you. It's all good.
Yeah, I love it. I just don't see the problem. And it's probably because I'm so blasé about there being an issue that people actually go, oh, there's no issue. No, there is. But you're right. Okay, let's take this to the ridiculous. Okay, I go to deliver a talk and I'm going to fail. Okay, whatever you believe is the negative is what's actually going to happen. So I'm going to fail on stage. That means I'm going on stage and I don't talk very eloquently. I don't get listened to very well. Here's the fact. I'm still going to go home to my family that night and I still love them to bits. So why do I put so much value in a potential failure? The fact is, my ego might get knocked a bit. That's about it. That's about as far as it can go. I've got enough proof behind me. I've got enough social proof. I've got enough physical assets to prove that I can talk on stage. So actually now a failure that really matters, I just don't see one happening. I can't see one happening. Let's say I go on stage and a trick doesn't work. You know what? I've got so many tricks that if one didn't work, the audience would never even know.
Yeah, you'd just turn it into something else, right?
Yeah.
And so that's another way of building confidence in a specific thing is practice. It does make a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So if you feel lacking in confidence, quite often if you feel lacking in confidence, something that goes with that is I'm not good enough, right? This is kind of the sentence, the belief that often goes with it. If you're saying to yourself I'm not good enough, you need to qualify that. So you need to add 2 things to that sentence. Rather than just saying, oh no, that's not true, forget it, because like that's great to say that, but very few people can then actually run with that. So instead, recognize, okay, I'm not good enough at X to do Y. So I'm not good enough to have a successful business. Really? Okay. Be more clear. Well, I'm not good enough at marketing to have a successful business. Okay. Be more specific. Okay. Well, actually, I'm not good enough at posting consistently on Facebook to generate the natural leads that come in that way. Right. Okay. Yeah. Why not? Because I haven't done much of it. Right. We'll do more and then you'll grow more confidence and then you'll be better at it and then you'll be able to do it. There you go. Problem solved. Like 9 times out of 10, the problem can be broken down into something so simple. Right. we're nearly out of time. So anyone who's got any questions, please ask in the comments now. If you're watching this on the replay, ask anyway. One of us will come back and get back to you anyway.
Yeah, and because this is in Duncan's page, if you tag me, there is more chance that I'll give you a response.
What he said.
Please do.
And look on the YouTube channel or head to mindaffinity.co.uk/mind matters to see all of our previous ones, including Paul just mentioned ego. We did an episode of ego last time, and our next one is anchoring, we were just speaking about. So check that one out. Right. Kat says, the stage is a huge issue for me. I can do lots of things, but I hate people looking at me. I lose all use of my voice. It doesn't have to be that way, Kat. So hopefully some of the stuff that we've spoken about has helped you to at least recognize and understand that it doesn't have to be that way and that you have the power to change it. If you want a bit more help, either way, either of us can help you with that. Get in touch with whoever you think is prettiest. So that's you, Paul, until I get my hair sorted.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go into a pretty competition with you. I think I might be the loser in that. But yeah, Kat, right. Okay, seriously, have a listen to what we've already gone through, because there was some amazing points in there. The bit that bothers me about what you said is I lose all use of my voice. I've got an issue on there, okay? Because unfortunately, if you listen to what we've already said, what you're actually doing is you are somehow making yourself lose your own voice. Now, that's the bit that I would concentrate on, because you're a person who does have a voice, and you can speak and you can do this stuff already, and you've proven this. So what we actually have to do is knock away or remove or gently, slowly delete the reasons that you're creating to make you do that. And that can be done so many ways. Seriously, so many ways. I would lay a bet that Duncan has got some gorgeous, nice, relaxing ways for you to do that. Because I don't know about you, Duncan, but I've already created about 4 or 5 different ways that I would deal with this in my head.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And everything from the... So for Kat, I'd be aware that there's certainly an element of sensory stuff at play that would need to be considered, which could actually be really, really useful and could make things really fun in the process. Yeah, and there's definitely options that would involve, like, absolutely, let's just launch into it and have fun in a big kind of scary but exciting way, and also options that would be really nice and calming that could happen first to build up to that. Like, yeah. Anyway,
and see, right, something I love there that you've just done is you've proved what we said earlier about it matters more about the person than it does about us and our attitudes, because by the sounds of it, you know Kat already. She's
in my awesome Facebook group, which everyone should join.
Yeah. So Duncan is already considering ways that it would work for you, whilst you can be as comfortable and as happy with this as possible. And that, for me, is the mark of a really good hypnotherapist. Because if he just went down I've got a script that will help with that route, I'll be blatantly honest, I wouldn't be sat here having a chat with him. So yeah, have a chat with Duncan about that, because it sounds like he's already got some ideas for you, mate.
So that brings us, as always, over time.
One day we'll do it.
Well, maybe if we cared enough. If it mattered enough to us, we could absolutely do it, right? So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Well, in fact, I know that, Paul, you're like me when you're doing a public speaking gig and there's a specific time slot. You know you've got to keep to that time slot, and you'd be a very bad professional speaker if you didn't, right? But it's very okay, moving swiftly on. Kat loves our chats and will definitely watch from the beginning again. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kat.
Also, tell your friends. Like the aim of this, well, there's kind of 2 aims at least from us, which is, one, to have a nice chat and a catch up. That's like definitely a part of it. And the other is that we've both got quite a lot of knowledge and experience when it comes to like this thing in here and peopling. And we want to share that in the hope that it could help or be useful for someone. So if you know someone who could find this useful, share it with them, like and subscribe on YouTube, all of that usual jazz that people have to say on videos, right? But yeah, definitely. And check out Paul's, wherever you want to find Paul, Facebook, podcast, the Newton's Nuggets.
Mate, last week's Nuggets was awesome. It's helped so many business owners already.
Oh, cool. Who did you have on your Nuggets last week? I've not listened yet.
Rick Notley, and we were talking about
brilliant.
social media. And he gave like 21 tips of how to take control of social media. It's brilliant.
Nick's a great guy as well.
Yeah, he is. So if it's all right with you, later on I'll go into the group and I'll drop a link to Newton's Nuggets.
Sure.
And then people can go and have a look if they want to.
Absolutely. Right. So we will bring it to an end now. Paul, thank you so much. As always, it's been lovely catching up and chatting with you. We've run out of time for me to get the puppy, but if you hang around after I end it, I'll show you him. And what else? Yeah, join us again next time, which, as it stands, is meant to be on the last Monday of this month. So the 27th of September, and we're talking all about anchoring and anchors. We all know that Paul's a massive fan of anchors.
Paul's a massive anchor
fan. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. And Kat's all excited about me showing my puppy. Right, goodbye.
Thanks